But listen to these women: Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Nikki Haley. They're all women, all conservatives, and all major players in politics.
Yeah, but Pat, here's the question of the day. What's up with the so-called GOP war on women? Well, as David Brody reports, these women and others behind the scenes tell a much different story.
One of the louder messages coming out of the 2012 campaign is about how the GOP is conducting a war on women. A close look inside the Tea Party reveals something different. Just look at some of its biggest supporters. Sarah Palin and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley lead a long list of notable female politicians who march with the Tea Party. Then there's Michelle Bachmann, dubbed Queen of the Tea Party. And the view doesn't change behind the scenes. Amy Kramer leads the influential Tea Party Express, and Jenny Beth Martin runs the Tea Party Patriots. This is all part of a strategy designed to show that women can be politically active while still embracing strong family values.
We equip them with knowledge about our faith and our family and our freedoms, and we also support those who take a stand for those Judeo-Christian values upon which our country was founded. And so what we do is you empower women with knowledge, but it has to be knowledge in God's truth.
Organized by Sue Trombino, these ladies groups called Women Impacting the Nation educate themselves by going through books on the Constitution and our Judeo-Christian founding, like Matt Staver's Take Back America, David Barton's America's Godly Heritage, and Brad Bright's book called God is the Issue.
The problem is we've become a nation of non-thinkers, and Karl Marx said a nation of non-thinkers is easily led.
Day by day, the women get more involved. 50 signed up to be poll watchers in the last election, and they expect to take even bigger steps in 2012.
I'll put our gals up against anybody any day.
This message is getting attention. Smart Girl Politics garnered headlines for empowering conservative women. Then there's ShePAC, a new political action committee aimed at electing conservative women to office. As for reaching new converts, there's still a long way to go, especially among independent women. In 2010, more than 40% of them said they liked the movement, but today that number is down to 20%. So how do they grow?
I think David Barton's theme in his last book, With Liberty Comes Responsibility, hits a note with mothers, with women in general. We are responsible. We can't sit back and wait for someone else to make sure there's a free country for our children and our grandchildren. It's our job. It's our responsibility.
There will also be a clear appeal to women of faith.
I think that our focus needs to be more on spiritual things rather than on economics. You know, money's important. I think a lot of Christians are very, very concerned about the economy and about our national defense, and all of those things are very important. I personally see this as a spiritual battle that's going on for our nation.
This is not political, it's spiritual. And if we don't bring back the country and be a better steward of the country that God has given us, we're going to lose this country.
David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
They are the women who are going to win. They are the women who are going to man the battlements and bring forth the birth of a new nation. They're the ones. And the liberals are saying, well, if you're not involved in gender politics and all that stuff, you're not really a feminist. Well, these women are showing there's no war on women on the part of the GOP. Well, you can always get the latest from David on his blog, The Brody File, and check out David's Brody File TV show, which is posted online every Friday morning. Both are on CBNnews.com. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
Pat, the Democrat-controlled Senate has not passed a federal budget in more than 3 years, and it didn't pass one Wednesday either. It unanimously rejected President Obama's budget, and it went down in flames, 99-0. The same thing happened in the House back in March. The vote there was 414-0. No Democrats in either body voted for it. Not a single vote in either House. The Speaker of the House explained why Congress does not like the president's budget.
Where's the president's plan to tackle our looming debt crisis? It's time for us to deal with the big issues that are affecting our country and our society. We've spent enough time playing small ball.
The president's budget would have added another $6 trillion in debt. The White House is accusing Republicans of political brinksmanship. Pat, we have yet to hear what they think about members of their own party.
You know, that is an incredible slap at the president. Not one vote from his own party in favor of his budget. And this is the second time this has happened, something like this. The president is not a leader. He's a cheerleader. He's a community organizer, but that's all he knows how to do, is to go out and make division and scream and yell and get up anger. But in terms of governing the country, he's a failure. And that's the most awful slap in the face I could imagine anybody incurring. Not one vote in favor of his budget. Lee?
An open confrontation between Iran, the U.S., and Israel is inevitable. That's what Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, told former Spanish President Jose Maria Aznar. Aznar is one of the few Western leaders who has met with Khamenei. He told journalists and diplomats in Jerusalem that Khamenei sees Israel as an historical cancer, condemned to disappear. Aznar also said Russian President Vladimir Putin confided in him that it's all right to sell advanced weaponry to Iran because, in the end, Israel will deal with the Islamic Republic.
He came closer to me and whispered, "Jose Maria, don't worry, we can sell everything. Because at the end of the day, the Israelis will take care of it."
That was Aznar reflecting on the private conversation that he had with Vladimir Putin. But Aznar said he didn't think it was fair to put the burden of solving a global problem on Israel alone. Louisiana lawmakers have overwhelmingly approved measures to let women hear the heartbeat of their unborn baby before having an abortion. The bill mirrors a Texas law that requires doctors conduct a sonogram, describe the fetus, and play a fetal heartbeat for pregnant women seeking abortions. The Louisiana bill does not require the women to see or hear their preborn baby. Still, opponents say it goes too far. Another bill would ban abortion after 20 weeks of conception. Prison Fellowship founder Chuck Colson was remembered Wednesday in a moving memorial service in Washington. Colson passed away recently after a brief illness. Paul Strand was there as loved ones and friends reflected on the redeeming work God did in Chuck Colson's life.
Amazing grace.
Thousands filled the National Cathedral, known as the nation's church, to celebrate the life of Prison Fellowship founder Chuck Colson. His daughter Emily spoke of a man who underwent one of the most public conversions of all time, from President Nixon's infamous hatchet man to servant of Christ.
I am thankful to be old enough to have known my father before he became a Christian, and to see the change, the transformation in my father when Christ ruled in his heart.
Longtime friend Reverend Timothy George saw Colson's life up close.
And he never got over the wonder and surprise of having encountered Jesus Christ as a real person, a living reality.
Colson served 7 months for his Watergate-related crimes and swore to his fellow inmates he'd never forget them. The next year, he started Prison Fellowship, the world's largest outreach to prisoners.
Though they don't give you a Bible in school, Chuck made sure you had one in jail.
Danny Croce was a prisoner who met the Lord through Colson and is now a chaplain in the same prison where he did time.
And God took this heart of stone away and gave him a heart of flesh. He gave him a heart of gold, actually.
When word of Chuck Colson's conversion to Christianity got around in 1973, a wag in the Boston Globe wrote, "If Mr. Colson can repent of his sins, there just has to be hope for everybody." Well, as those testified today in this cathedral who knew him and loved him the most, God found that hope in Colson, and then he turned around and found it in everyone. Emily Colson read aloud instructions her father left behind for this time.
I want my funeral services to be joyful. I don't want people to be sad, because I believe with every ounce of conviction in my body that death is but a homecoming, and that we'll be in the presence of God.
Colson died in April at the age of 80. Paul Strand, CBN News, the National Cathedral.
That was a moving ceremony.
I should say it was. We miss Chuck Colson. His life was a beacon. When you think that book he wrote called Born Again was a huge national bestseller, and the work that he did with Prison Fellowship was extraordinary, and I'm pleased that he filled in for me on a couple of occasions for a whole week. He hosted the 700 Club, and just a great guy. And we miss him.
A Catholic university in Ohio is dropping student health insurance because of President Obama's mandated birth control coverage. The vice president of Franciscan University says the school won't offer students coverage of contraceptive services that are opposed by the Catholic Church. The school will continue to offer employee insurance while it waits for the outcome of challenges to the mandate. Meanwhile, Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius will speak at Georgetown University's graduation ceremony despite criticism from the Archdiocese of Washington. Catholic leaders say Sebelius is a bad choice because she helped to create the contraception mandate. California lawmakers are considering a bill that would ban therapy for teens who want to change their sexual orientation. This measure is the first of its kind in the country, and the bill's author says conversion therapy can be dangerous and can, quote, cause extreme depression and guilt. Some mental health experts say there's no evidence of that. They point out that there are no studies on adolescents seeking to change their orientation. A coalition of California mental health groups is opposing the bill, and faith-based groups say the bill violates parents' rights and tries to shut down all debate about homosexuality.
Parents certainly have the right to direct the health care of their children, and that should include their mental health care as well as their physical health care.
They want to institutionalize homosexuality, and they want to they don't want anything at all in any way to treat homosexuality as something that can be changed.
The California Senate is debating the bill. If it passes, it then goes to the state assembly. Well, you can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com.